I'm Liam Neam from CKTV. Today I'm going to be interviewing a good friend of mine, Rachel. Rachel is a social activist, a mother, a daughter, a sister, a lover, and a sex worker. This is her story.
Hey, come on in. How are you? Nice to see you. Come on in.
You've been a sex worker for most of your adult life. What did your family think when you told them?
I never told my dad. I wasn't in close contact with my father, but my brother knew before my mother, and he was quite fine about it. He's only a couple of years younger than me, and my mum knows, and she's always like, Rachel, do you have to? But then she's also very supportive, and she's very proud that I've managed to buy my own home and be very independent and look after myself.
How did you become a sex worker? What influenced you to become one?
I was actually always very interested in the sex industry. I just never knew how to get involved, funny enough. So it was many years between when I first thought about wanting to get into the industry to when I actually did. What influenced me? Well, I did psychology as my undergraduate degree, and I actually really like being able to help or assist or empower people, and I think that I have the ability to put a smile on someone's face and to make someone feel good about themselves.
You've campaigned for the rights of sex workers all around the world. What made you be influenced to do this? What gave you the passion?
I like speaking and presenting, and I am completely annoyed and overwhelmed and angry about the fact that there's discrimination against people. The sex industry is about mutually consenting adults deciding what services they'd like and what services someone's willing to offer, and there happens to be money exchanged. And I think that people have sex all the time in all different places around the world, and no one cares about that. But for us, where we have very organised boundaries, we have negotiated safer sex practices beforehand, we determine how long we're going to be interacting, that there's a lot of discrimination and there's a lot of stigma, and there's no good occupational health and safety rights, industrial rights, or in fact our human rights are completely disrespected. And so based on the passion and the belief that I think people should be treated as adults, and that we should be supported no matter what occupation we choose to be a part of. So from that, it just kind of mushroomed from there.
There's a lot of naivety.
Yes, yeah. Yep. A lot of people have their head in the sand, and a lot of people won't listen to sex workers as well. So I always say, if there was new policies or procedures or laws coming out about vets or nurses or doctors or firemen or ambulance people, then they would be completely consulted and would be there right from the start and on all the panels and the discussions, and they would be writing the new policies and laws. But for some reason people completely disregard sex workers a lot of the time and don't have us involved, and I think that's completely wrong. There should be nothing about us without us.
You work with people with disabilities. How did this come about?
Once again, it just kind of happens, and people self-refer. So through my work within different sectors of the sex industry, you would have different people with either acquired or congenital disabilities, and it just kind of went from there. And then when I first started becoming involved or helped setting up Touching Base, an organisation I'm a part of, it kind of blossomed from there, and the more people have started talking about it, and it's through word of mouth and different referral systems, and now I have a website that actually also incorporates the fact that I provide disability-friendly services, and my experience is kind of hands-on, and I'm always learning from all my clients, regardless of if they have a disability or not. So I really enjoy that sector though of my work.
How do you feel about the impression on sex workers in media today?
Oh, it's awful. It's awful because they're lazy, because most media don't wish to take the time and energy to actually seek out sex workers and decide and consult with them about what their imagery should be in order to depict sex workers. Though there has been some positive changes over the years. So in Australia you are starting to see now more media talking about sex workers, not prostitutes, and instead of hookers and whores and things like that. So slowly it is starting to change, but you still get all the imagery, and I think that's what really sticks in people's minds about someone with very long slender legs, very Julia Roberts, where you've got the ripped fishnets and the little tiny skirt and the knee-high boots, and the reality is that there's a small percentage of sex workers that are tall and slender and choose to wear that outfit to work. But I could do a job in this, and probably have before. So definitely clients like to see us in all different kinds of clothing, and you can hardly walk into the Hilton with ripped fishnets and high heel fuck me boots. So there's all shapes and sizes, and the media should start incorporating the reality of the sex industry. But that doesn't get ratings, and that isn't sensationalised. We're all very normal people, really.
You helped start up an organisation called Touching Base, and they provided training for sex workers. Do all other organisations provide training?
For sex workers or people with disability?
For all round.
Yeah. There are different training courses in Australia for sex workers, but nothing really specific to being able to feel more comfortable and proficient in providing services to clients with disability. A couple of the state-based sex worker organisations have certainly done 1 day or half day or a couple of hour training courses, and this is something that we definitely encourage and support. The professional disability awareness training that Touching Base has started developing and providing for sex workers has been very successful, and we've really enjoyed being a part of that, and we hope to continue that in the future. On the other side of things, we also provide the service provider awareness training. So for people in the disability field who are the carers and the support staff of people with disabilities, then they can feel more comfortable in assisting their client to choose as one option to perhaps decide to see a sex worker, and be more comfortable in assisting their journey to decide where and when and what kind of service and what kind of sex worker along the way, and knowing their rights and responsibilities as well.
And have you helped with any of the training?
I've helped with both of the trainings. So often you're there all day, because it's always really good to have the same kind of trainers there and to assist. But I often do the sex worker component on the professional disability awareness training, and I also do the sex worker facts and furphies section in the service provider awareness training.
What would you say to someone who wanted to become a sex worker?
Look, you get this question sometimes, and I always say, what do you know about the sex industry, and why are you interested in being a sex worker? There's heaps of referrals I can give someone. It's not for everyone. Just like I couldn't get up at 4 in the morning and be a garbage collector. I couldn't stand it. It's cold, it's wet, I deal with other people's garbage, but it's very early. So people with any kind of job have to research it and find which area. So within law, there's criminal law, or there's conveyancing, or there's family law, and sometimes you have to shop around to try to work out where you'd like to work. But certainly I'd refer them to the touchingbase.org website, and also scarletalliance.org.au website, which is the Australian Sex Workers Association. And from that you can get the links to a lot of the sex worker organisations and groups within different states and territories in Australia, and also overseas. So if someone said to me, I want to be a sex worker, can you help me? But they haven't done any research, then I would say, go and do some research and consideration. Here's some literature and here's some information and things to consider. You do it in stages. I'm more than happy to support and to provide the information that I've learnt along the way. And that's one of the greatest strengths with sex workers, is that peer education is very strong. So people think that sex workers are very isolated, and some people definitely are, but with the advent of modern technology, with the internet and then phones being very cheap, and also in this country, and specifically in New South Wales, where it's decriminalised setting, there are definitely different opportunities opportunities to be able to meet each other and to be able to discuss things and share information. And so peer education is very strong, and we will support each other. Yeah.
Thank you, Rachel, for your time. It's been very cool talking to you.
My pleasure, anytime.
Thank you. I'm Liam Nero from CKT.
Come